different if it's just for personal use versus business use. Like you said, if you're setting up a company or if you're setting up an account for a small business or for a corporation. I noticed, so even the Metro North here in New York, I complained about, my train being late one day and said something about classic MTA, and all of a sudden MTA starts following me. They must have had some type of auto thing set up, but that way they can, see the grievances their clients are airing about them and what people are saying. But I do think it's really different. For corporations and individuals.
Well, there's security concerns too. I mean, if you're an individual, like, if you're on there in your working capacity and in your personal capacity, you may have different username, and you just don't want to put a lot of information about yourself out there. I mean, I refer to my kids by their ages. I don't refer to by their names. I don't have my full last name out there on Twitter. I try to be somewhat protected because you don't know who is there, and it's all, it's forever.
It's interesting though, because we're talking with someone later right after who is doing this Twitter campaign. He's going across the country and meeting people face to face that he has met only, virtually thus far via Facebook or Twitter, and he put his phone number out there and said, hey, if I'm going to be in your city, call me. So it's kind of this opposite approach of really trusting everyone. I personally think, though, it's easier to do that as a man than a woman. I really do. I think that women are more vulnerable in that sense. So I think he can get away with a little more. But it's interesting just how confident and bold he's been in putting a lot of personal information out there.
Well, I think it's so young still that we haven't really had the carryover into a lot of the general population. So I think that your demographics right now are probably, higher education levels and higher earners in general for the people that are out there using Twitter. So I think that, if he's doing that, he's probably going to be encountering decent people, and I think most people would. You use your common sense, you use your sixth sense, and if you don't feel good about something, you don't. But I've seen people do that. I've seen people. I think there was somebody walking across country last year or something. I remember seeing him coming through town and started following him on Twitter. So it's neat, and there's a lot of power out there that's yet to be harnessed.
Right. So let's get really specific though. For example, real estate. I still don't really connect how you would use Twitter to help your real estate business.
Basically, it's been a networking tool. Like, I'm very involved with the base realignment and closings, the Fort Monmouth going to Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, because I'm in Wilmington, Delaware. So what I've had is I actually had a Maryland agent who overheard somebody saying that they needed a Delaware agent and referred this individual to me. Now, I never would have known her if not for Twitter. So now I've made a connection with a Maryland agent who's sending me Delaware business.
And so you're making personal connections, but then
they turn into business. They turn into a business connection, and then as realtors, we always have clients that are moving around the country, around the world, and you can reach out to people that that you've interacted with for an extended period of time, or even in the Twitter Queens network. I mean, there's a couple of people here now that you know the quality of service that they're going to get, and you have a level of control, and that you can trust them. So it's not just sort of blindly sending your client who's moving back to California and saying, here's XYZ Realtor in San Francisco, have a nice time. I can pick up the phone and I can say, okay, I'm calling my friend Ginger W.
Or you can direct message her on Twitter. I mean, it seems like the networking's always existed. This is just kind of a new way to organize your Rolodex in a way. I mean, it's kind of a digital virtual Rolodex.
It's totally useful.
It's still different though, because some of these people you don't know.
Well, let's talk about a Rolodex that has thousands of contacts in it. How can we organize them in a way that our brains can say, oh, I need to talk to so-and-so and get there through Twitter?
I typically I'll tweet out what I need. Okay. I think I was somewhere the other day and I said, I need this information, and somebody in my 2,100 followers or whatever it is came back and told me something or answered the question. I think that between tweeting and then being retweeted, usually you can get the answer or information that you need fairly quickly, a lot faster than, but at the same time I just changed cellular carriers and I was without a phone for about 2.5 hours, and that sort of puts you into this whole new world of, wow, I'm lost. Now I have questions and I can't reach out to anybody. Like I needed help with a customer service rep and getting answers, and I would turn normally to Twitter and tweet, and there was nothing there. It was
how quickly we become dependent on something brand new.
Very quickly.
No, that is a good point. Do we have any questions from the chat room for how to use Twitter for real results and in a truly business sense?
Well, they're having a great discussion about Twitter and how to use it, but no, they're not asking any questions
Yeah.
right now.
I mean, I feel like
I-
it's still new enough. We're still trying to figure it out. It's still evolving.
Yeah, I feel
and
very overwhelmed by it. I'm trying very hard to learn it and spend time using it. But I mean, I'm honest, I really don't think I've grasped it yet.
I agree.
It takes time. You just kind of have to be there. You have to observe and feel your way through it. You'll find your niche. You'll find how it serves your needs in your life. It just takes a little time of using and observing and seeing what people do and say. A lot of people are under the misconception, if I want 3,000 followers, I'm going to follow 3,000 people. It doesn't
But
work.
is it really about quantity or is it about quality of people that...
There are a lot of people who think it's about quantity, and it really is. It's about quality, and that's where I go, and I think that's where we try to teach that to people, and that's why we say have a good bio, give positive information or good information. It doesn't have to be positive, but good information. Be willing to share and be forthright, and people will find you. You don't have to sign up for a service that says get 1 million followers in a week or whatever it is. It's not about that. But there are people that look at how many followers you have and therefore determine your value based on that. I mean, I have a decent amount of followers, but I don't follow as many people that follow me. So then there's some sort of allure to that. There's some psychology to it as well. It's just the sort of, when you look into sociology and anthropology and just human nature and seeing what people do, it's kind of fun to see how social media plays into that too.
Absolutely. I think it's been interesting to see how the celebs have tweeted about themselves in a way that almost, I think, starts to make some of the gossip magazines less relevant because they're breaking their own news. They don't need, they don't need Us Weekly to tell us they're pregnant when they're telling us they're pregnant. But so it's been interesting to see the way it's changing things. But I still, with Rick, I agree. I'm still having a hard time feeling it out. And I think more than anything, it's because my life, and I think a lot of people's life, is very compartmentalized into, I have certain hobbies, I have certain interests, I have family life, personal life, at work, and so it's tough to figure out your Twitter persona. You kind of want to be who you are and all those things, but that sometimes the compartments don't always mix, I guess, is the way
you
to put it,
sample.
so.
You take samples,